So how to write the data into Excel sheet. So first of all, I want to open my file input stream. First of all, I'll create an empty Excel sheet. I'll create an empty Excel sheet. In that Excel sheet, I'm going to write the data. Okay, just I'm going to create a new Excel sheet. Under this Excel sheet, I want to enter the data in the first. So now, so I'm going to save the file. That save in, I'm going to save that file in W1 dot, don't give any extensions. I'm going to give W1. That's the file name. Okay. Now here I'm going to file input stream, F1 equal to new file input stream of d:// W1 dot XLSX. Now after that, I'm going to while, okay, I'm going to use XSSF workbook WB equal to new XSSF workbook of F1. Now after that, XSSF sheet WS equal to workbook dot get sheet of sheet 1. Okay. Now after that, I'm going to use, you don't need to use any conditions here. So you are going to enter the value. That's all. So you don't need to check this conditions for them. So change it to file input stream. Now similarly change it to file input stream java.io. Now XSSF workbook. We need to add your jar file. I think so. There is no jar file. So just go to the properties, Java build path, go to the class path, select your add external jars. Now you go for Apache PY jar file. So where is your Apache jar file in the desktop? So under that Apache PY file, I'm going to select all my jar files, 11 jar files. Click open, click apply and close. Now I'm going to add the change it to XSSF workbook. Sorry, change it to XSSF workbook. Now similarly change it to XSSF worksheet. Now similarly change it to XSSF sheet. WS equal to XSSF sheet. Now similarly get sheet. So get a sheet. So now I've been using add through declarations. That's all. Now what I'm going to do, just now here what I'm going to do, I'm going to make row as row R equal to null, Similarly, cell C equal to null. Okay. Now been created row null and the column null. Now row org.opencase selenium enter. Similarly, change it to cell org.opencase selenium is enter. Now once it is over, now what I need to do, in where I want to write the data in, where you want to write, I want to write the data in C. So this is the first. So I want to write the data in 0th column, first row. 0th column, first row. I want to enter. This is a column. This is the column. This is the rows. So 0th row, first column. 0th row, first column. So for that, what we do is R equal to worksheet dot create row. I'm going to create the row. Which row I want to create? 0th row. Under that, R dot create cell of which cell I want to create? First cell dot set cell value. What do you want to enter? Manual testing. Got it? Manual testing. So 0th row, first column. Okay. Similarly, R equal to worksheet dot create row. Which row I want to create? I want to create the third row. I want to create. R dot create cell of I want to create third cell. Dot set cell value. Dot set cell value. So what do you want to enter? I want to enter QTP. I want to enter QTP. Now after that, so now I'm going to create one more row. R equal to worksheet dot create row of fifth row. R dot create cell of sixth column. Third row, fifth row, sixth column. Dot set cell value like RFT or UFT. Okay, I've been created 3 rows. Now I've been created zeroth row, first column, first, second row, third column, and the fifth row, sixth column. Okay, na? Got it?
Yes, sir.
Now, so what I'm going to do, I want to write to already we have created that empty Excel sheet. In that empty Excel sheet, I want to enter the data. Dot set cell value, C capital letter. Right. See, we should be capital letter. Now, where I want to write in the same Excel sheet. So file, we need to write file output stream F1 equal to new file output stream of d:// w1 dot xlsx. Here, why you are writing again? We already create, this is an empty Excel sheet. In this empty Excel sheet, I want to write the data. Okay, na? I want to write the data. Now change to file output stream. So I'm going to change that as find to file output stream java.io. Now similarly change to file output stream java.io. So what is the variable I've been created here? I've been already created F1. You can't use the same variable F2. Okay, now F2 dot write. Where you want to write? F2 dot write of workbook. So through workbooks or else workbook dot write of F2. So what I'm doing to write through F2, I'm going to write the values in F1. F2 dot I want to close the window. That's all. So automatically it will add the data and return. Before executing, make sure that your Excel sheet should close. Otherwise, the data will not be stored in that. Okay, now. So why it is showing error? W1 dot system cannot identify. See, W1 dot xlsx, and here I'm using WM1 dot xlsx. xlsx. Similarly, xlsx. Okay, done. Right? So what is the file name? W1 dot xlsx. Click on that. There you can see manual testing, QTP, UFT. Okay, na? Got it? This is how to
Yes.
add the data in the Excel sheet. Add the data into the Excel sheet. Writing data into Excel sheet. Writing data into Excel sheet. So how to add the data into Excel sheet? These are the reading the data, writing the data. Next, we'll go with the first framework design. What do you mean by framework, and what are the types of frameworks are there? The repetition of test cases or test scripts for multiple times with multiple test data on the same build is known as actually called as a on the same build is called retesting. So where you are going to design your frameworks. Repetition. Repetition means you are going to repeat the same test cases. Now, framework is nothing but to design the application in a proper manner by getting data from other external files which are in the form of .xml file or .xls file. XML file లో కానీ .xls లో కూడా ఉంటామండి డేటా తెచ్చుకోవడానికి. Now proper application in a proper manner. That means that what we are doing is we need to add the libraries. Second one, fetch the data from external files. Generating the reports, adding jar files, set up with drivers, whatever the drivers you require, you can store all the drivers. Next, configurations, in which environment we are going to work. All these things will comes under framework. So we are going to add the libraries. We are going to get the data from the external files. We are going to generate the reports. We are going to add the jar files. We are going to set up the drivers and we are going to set up the configuration. This entire structure is called as a configuration, is called as a framework. So any design cheste then one will call as a frameworks. Now the first type of frameworks are, the first one is called as data driven test. Driven is nothing but repetition. Repetition. That is, whenever you are going to get the data from the external files, based on that you are going to test your functionality. So now here you are having some data in your configurations, like see. So this is your test data. For example, test data, where you are getting test data from the Excel sheet. Now, test data. Next, you are going to interact with. So you are going to interact with the tool. This is a tool where you are going to use in Eclipse. So you are going to write some scripts, and you are going to get the. We are going to add your data. We are going to get the data from the Excel sheet and we are going to write the script. Using the scripts, I'm going to test your application. So how do you run this application? So we are going to add what kind of things we are going to add here. So just now I told you. So we need to add your libraries. We need to get the data. We need to generate the reports, adding jar files, set up drivers, configurations. All this will come under this part. Okay. So what are the things? We need to add the libraries, test data libraries, fetching the data from the external files. Next. So 1 second. Test data is nothing but 1 second. So add libraries, fetch data from the external files, generating the reports, add jar files, and ఎవరిది మంది కాదు, సారీ. Okay, na? So these are all the front. So these are all the libraries where you're going to add. Using that, I'm going to set up with this scripts, and using the scripts, I want to test my application. So there is a proper way of methodology where you can design your framework. The first part we are going to design is called as a data-driven framework. My first scenario is, see, I'll show you one sample example. So just I'm going to open Google page. Under the Google, I want to open my new tours page. Now in this new tours, so in this new tours, see, I want to get the drop down elements. I want to get all my, or else I want to get all the drop down elements, and I want to get all my drop down elements, and I want to store it in the 0th column in an Excel sheet. I want to store them in the 0th column in an Excel sheet. Okay, 0th column in Excel sheet. So I want to get all the drop down elements here. Once the element is been, or else I'll do one thing, I'll show you one more data that will be easy. So now my scenario is, I want to click on the register. I want to click on the register, and whatever the country names are there, I want to store all the country names in the Excel sheet in the 0th column. Okay, na? I want to store them in the 0th column. And in the first column, I want to result as pass. If the element is stored in the 0th column, then the result should be pass. If the element is not stored, the result should be failed. Got it?
Okay.
Krishna?
Yes, sir.
So I want to get all the elements from the drop down. I want to get all the elements from the drop down country, and that element have been stored in the 0th column. And once if the element have been stored, the result has to be set pass. If the element is not stored, then the result should be failed. That is the scenario. So for that, so I'm going to use first data driven test. So now I'll show you how to work on that. So I'm going to create a separate package for frameworks. Right click on that, go to new, click on the package, mention as frameworks. Now under the frameworks, right click on that, go to new, click on the class, mention as data driven test 1. So public static void main, click finish. Now, so what is the first scenario? What is the first one? So we need to add your libraries. What libraries? We need to add your jar files. We already added the jar files. Next, fetch the data from the external files. We need to get the data from the external files. Actually, we are having empty Excel sheet now, so we'll get that. Generating the reports, adding jar files, setup drivers, configurations. Now see. So first of all, I'll open my Eclipse. Under that, I'm going to create a new folder. I'm going to create a new folder. New folder. Under the folder, I'm going to set up with configurations. Click finish. Under the configurations, go to new. I want to add all my drivers. So Chrome driver, Firefox driver, whatever the drivers are there, I'm going to set up the drivers in that. So just click on that, and I want to go for the C drive, C drive or I'll D drive, sorry. In the D drive, you can find all your jar files. Selenium server standalone, IE driver, Selenium server standalone, next Chrome driver, all these things I'm going to store them in the configurations. Yes. Right? See, all the drivers have been stored. Similarly, I've been stored all my drivers. Now, the next one is I want to store all my drivers. Drivers have been over. Now I've been added my Selenium server standalone separately. And now what I'm going to do, I'm going to fetch the data from the Excel sheet. We don't have any data. So through the application, I want to store them in the Excel sheet. That is write mode. That is a write mode I'm going to use. See, first of all, file input stream F1 equal to new file input stream of where, what is the path of the file name? w1.xlsx. So w1.xlsx, that in the same file I'm going to now change to file input stream java.io. Similarly, change it to file input stream java.io. Now XSSF workbook WB equal to next new XSSF workbook of F1 Now change this as XSSF workbook. Now add through declarations. Now XSSF sheet WS equal to workbook dot get sheet of sheet 1. Get sheet of sheet 1. Now change it to XSF sheet org.openq user modes. Now I've been created. Now I'm going to create row R equal to null. Similarly, cell C equal to null. That's all. Right? Now I want to open my application. Which application? New tools.demoit.com. So, right? So I want to open my application. So what is the page of this application use? You need to get the URL. This is the URL. Directly, I am not clicking link. First of all, I'll click that link and I'll get the URL. So I'm going to use system.set property of WebDriver dot chrome dot driver comma d : chrome driver.exe. Okay, done. Now after that, I'm going to use chrome driver d equal to okay. Now I'm going to use d dot get. What is the URL? Oh, sorry. What is the URL? Now I've been maximized the window. Once it is maximized the window, first of all, I'll capture these elements. First of all, I need to capture my country names. Name equal to country. Web element, some drop equal to d dot find element of by dot name country. list web element, drop one equal to drop dot find elements of by dot tag name. Tag name A. Okay. Each element started with the tag name A. That's all. Now, what I'm going to do is change the list java.utility function. Now, after that, I want to get the size of those elements. So system.out.println drop one dot size. Now, after that, what I need to do, I need to each element started with the option, right? Not A option. Okay. Now I want to read each and every element from that element. So for int I equal to 0, I less than drop one dot size I plus plus. Okay, na? I plus plus. After that, I want to get the location value. So same what we have done previously. We have done how to count the number of links, how to count the drop down element, same program, right? So system dot out dot println drop one dot get of I dot get text. Okay, na? So this up to this is okay. Clear? Now, once you get the drop down, now what I need to do, I need to store them in the zeroth column, into zeroth column. So for that, R equal to worksheet dot create row of I. I'm going to create the how many number of size is there? Depending upon the size, it will create the I value. It will create the I value. Now where I want to store? Where I want to store in the zeroth column. I created the number of rows. Now where I want to store? I want to store in the zeroth column. So R dot create cell of zeroth row dot set cell value. What do you want to enter? See, whatever the element to be captured, that element has to be stored in the zeroth column. Okay na? ఇక్కడ ఏం చేస్తున్నాను, నెంబర్ ఆఫ్ రోస్ క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నా. ఎక్కడ క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నాను? జీరోత్ కాలంలో క్రియేట్ చేస్తున్నాను. గోయింగ్ టు క్రియేట్ దెన్ జీరోత్ కాలం. వాట్ ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు ఎంటర్, వాట్ ఎవర్ యూ బీన్ క్యాప్చర్ ద డ్రాప్ డౌన్ ఎలిమెంట్స్, దట్ ఎలిమెంట్స్ ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు స్టోర్ ఇట్ ఇన్ ద జీరోత్ కాలం. ఓకేనా? గాట్ ఇట్?
Okay, sir.
Okay, now I'm going to create R. Now I'm going to create D dot drop one dot get of I dot. ఫస్ట్ ఆఫ్ ఆల్ ఏం చేస్తాను, ఒక్కొక్క ఎలిమెంట్ క్లిక్ చేస్తాను. ఒక్కొక్క ఎలిమెంట్ క్లిక్ చేసుకుంటాను. వాట్ ఐమ్ డూయింగ్, ఐ వాంట్ క్లిక్ ఈచ్ అండ్ ఎవ్రీ ఎలిమెంట్. ఫస్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ ఏంటిది? వాట్ ఇస్ ద ఫస్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్ హియర్? సి, ఫస్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్, ఇట్ విల్ క్లిక్ ఫస్ట్ ఎలిమెంట్. క్లిక్ చేసిన తర్వాత దట్ ఎలిమెంట్ హ్యాస్ టు బి స్టోర్డ్ ఇన్ ది జీరోత్ కాలం. సో ఐఎమ్ గోయింగ్ టు చెక్ ద కండిషన్. ఇఫ్ డ్రాప్ వన్ డాట్ గెట్ ఆఫ్ ఐ డాట్ సో ఐల్ డూ వన్ థింగ్, నాట్ ఈక్వల్ అని పెడతాను. సో if drop one dot get of a dot is selected అయితే, if drop one dot get of a dot is selected అయితే, then what I'm going to do, where I want to create, I want to store them in the first column, right? So I'm going to create R dot create cell of one, first column lo kada, dot set cell value pass. అర్థమైంది? ఇప్పుడు ఏదైతే ఎలిమెంట్ సెలెక్ట్ చేసుకున్నామో ఆ ఎలిమెంట్ స్టోర్ అయితే ఫస్ట్ కాలంలో ఆ వాల్యూని పాస్ అని చెప్పాలి. ఇఫ్ ద ఎలిమెంట్ ఈస్ సెలెక్టెడ్, ద రిజల్ట్ షుడ్ బి పాస్. ఓకే, ద ఎలిమెంట్ షుడ్ బి పాస్. ఎక్కడ స్టోర్ చేయాలి? ఇన్ ద ఫస్ట్ కాలంలో స్టోర్ చేయాలన్నమాట. ఓకేనా? జీరోత్ కాలంలో ఎలిమెంట్ స్టోర్ అయితే ఫస్ట్ కాలంలో రిజల్ట్ పాస్ అవ్వాలి. ఓకేనా? ఎల్స్ R dot create cell of one dot set cell value fail. ఒకవేళ స్టోర్ అవ్వకపోతే రిజల్ట్ ఫెయిల్ అని రావాలి. సో వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ రైట్ మోడ్ కాబట్టి we need to use file output stream F1 equal to new file output stream of of d colon double slash w1 dot xlsx. Now workbook dot write of f1 dot change to file output stream java.io. Similarly, change to file output stream java.io, and I'm going to create as f2 here. Okay, na?
Okay, sir.
Save the file. ఏమవుతుంది ఇక్కడ చూడండి. First of all, I'm going to open my open my file. Through the file, I'm going to open my workbook. Through the workbook, I'm going to open the sheet. Okay, done. I created the number of rows and the columns as null. Now I'm going to open the page. Which page? New tools page. I've been maximize the window. That's all. Up to this. Now I want to capture all my drop down elements with the tag name option. Later on, what I'm doing, I'm going to get the size of those elements. Okay, done. I want to read each and every element from the drop down elements. Next, it will go to the particular location and get the values. Done. Now, where you want to store? I want to store them in the rows 0th row and the 0th row in the 0th column, right? For that, I'm going to create, first of all, I'm going to create the number of rows where I'm going to create in the 0th column. And what I'm going to set, I'm going to set whatever the elements have been captured, these elements has to be stored in the 0th column. That's all. Okay. Now I want to click each and every element from the application. If the element is selected, then automatically in the first column, the result should be pass. Else, the result should be fail. So, మనం write mode use చేస్తున్నాం కాబట్టి we need to use file output stream, and I want to write that in the workbook, and I want to close my workbook. Save the file. Before executing, make sure that your Excel sheet should close. Save the file w1.xlsx. Now run as Java application. See, it is selecting the elements from the drop down. Okay, na? It is selecting elements from the drop down. Each and element click chestunamata. It is clicking each and every element. Altogether 264 countries are there. It will capture all the country names and stored in the 0th column in an Excel sheet. If the elements are stored in the first column, result will be pass. If the elements are not selected, then the result will be fail. Done. Now I'm going to open my Excel sheet. So w1.xlsx. Got it? Have you done this?
Yes, sir.
So this is how you are going to get the data from the other external files. So if the elements are stored, the result should be pass. If the elements are not stored, result will be fail. So all of these stored now, so it will be pass. This is called as a framework. Ila design chestamata. So this is how they are going to fetch the data from the application to the Excel sheet. Okay, we'll try with one more application. Okay, na? So example is okay, na? Now we'll see one more example with the same data. See, అక్కడ స్టోర్ చేస్తుంది, automatic it will be displayed in the console. Okay, na?
Okay, sir.
So this is how you are going to design your framework. ఇలా చేస్తామట. So if you want to get the reports, so what we can do? So after else part, we can write here. So file src equal to SRC equal to take screenshot of D dot get screenshot as output type dot file. Now file utils dot copy file. We are going to use copy file of, so SRC. What is the file? SRC comma new file of D : /. I'm going to use W1 dot same file name dot PNG. So whatever the data I'm going to store, that page will be stored up. Now change to file java.io. Take screenshot. Get a screenshot as. Change to file java.io. File utils, it is a function. So file utils, just scroll down. Here you can find, is there any file utils? See, file utils. So now change it to copy file. That's all. Okay. This is how we are going to take the screenshot. Now if I compile it, again I'm going to run this. So it will click each and every element. Once it is clicked, that the zero, these elements will be stored in the 0th column in an Excel sheet.